The emergency signal cut through the quiet bridge of the Earth Defense Force ship Thunder. Captain Tom Reed stood from his command chair, his eyes fixed on the main screen. The message repeated itself, a mix of alien languages and universal trade codes that all said the same thing. "Help us." "Get me a translation," he ordered. The ship's AI worked quickly, converting the alien plea into English. The voice that came through was filled with fear. "This is Starbase 7 of the Meridian Trading Alliance. We are under attack. Multiple hostile ships, civilian casualties. Please, anyone who receives this message, we need immediate assistance." Tom watched as his crew worked at their stations. The Thunder had been patrolling the outer reaches of human space when they picked up the signal. They were the closest ship to the Meridian territory, but close in space meant they were still hours away at their best speed. "Sir," Lieutenant Rogers spoke up from the sensor station, "I'm picking up weapons fire at the coordinates. It's massive. Looks like a full-scale invasion." Tom walked to the tactical display, where red dots showed enemy ships surrounding a larger blue station. The Meridians were peaceful traders. Everyone knew that. They had no major fleet, no standing army. Their space stations were built for commerce, not combat. "Show me the attackers," Tom said. The screen changed, revealing dark, blade-shaped ships moving with military precision. "Shadowclaw Empire vessels," he muttered. The Shadowclaws were known throughout this sector as ruthless expansionists, but they had never been this bold before. The bridge crew waited for his decision. Humanity was still new to the galactic stage. Many believed they should stay out of alien conflicts, focus on protecting their own borders. But Tom remembered Earth's history. Too many times, good people had stood by while others suffered. "Communications, send this message to Earth Command," he said. "Have encountered Meridian distress signal. Starbase 7 under attack by Shadowclaw forces. Requesting permission to assist. Civilian casualties confirmed. Time is critical." While they waited for a response, Tom ordered the ship to move closer to the conflict zone. He studied the tactical displays, noting the Shadowclaw's attack pattern. They were systematic, slowly crushing the station's weak defenses. "Message from Earth Command, sir," the communications officer announced. The text appeared on Tom's screen. "Proceed with ocean. Gather intelligence. Do not engage without direct authorization. Reinforcements being discussed." Tom frowned. Bureaucrats and politicians would debate while people died. He looked at the distress signal, still playing on a secondary screen. The Meridian voice was becoming more desperate. "Our shields are failing. We have thousands of civilians aboard, including children. Please, if anyone can hear us." "Sir," Lieutenant Rogers interrupted. "I'm detecting escape pods launching from the station. The Shadowclaws. They're targeting them." Tom's jaw tightened. The Thunder might be just one ship, but it was a human ship, and if humanity had learned anything from its own bloody history, it was that sometimes you had to take a stand. "Battle stations," he ordered. Red lights flashed throughout the ship as crew members ran to their posts. "Engineering, give me everything you can to the engines. Weapons, power up all systems but hold your fire." "Sir," his first officer stepped closer, speaking quietly. "Earth Command said." "Earth Command said to gather intelligence," Tom replied. "And I intend to. Up close and personal." He opened the ship-wide communication channel. "All hands, this is the captain. We're about to show the galaxy what humanity stands for. We may be outnumbered, but we're not going to watch civilians die. Not today." The Thunder's engines roared to full power. Tom sent one more message to Earth. "Proceeding to Starbase 7. Meridian civilians under direct attack. Will engage if necessary to protect innocent lives. Requesting immediate backup." As they accelerated toward the battle, Tom watched his crew. There was fear in their eyes, Yes, but also determination. Whether Earth Command liked it or not, humanity was about to make its mark on galactic politics. "Hold on," he whispered to the distant Meridians. "We're coming." The Earth Security Council chamber was filled with angry voices. Admiral Jane Smith stood at the center, her hands gripping the edges of the podium as she faced the 20 council members. On the main screen behind her, live footage showed the Thunder engaging Shadowclaw ships near Starbase 7. "Captain Reeve acted without authorization," one council member shouted. "He's dragged us into an alien war." "He acted to save lives," Jane replied, her voice steady. "And right now, he's showing the galaxy what humanity stands for." The council chamber fell quiet as new footage appeared on the screen. The Thunder was positioning itself between the Shadowclaw ships and fleeing escape pods, its shields flaring as it absorbed hits meant for the refugees. "We have a choice to make," Jane continued. "We can either abandon the Thunder and the Meridians, or we can do what's right. I have the 7th Fleet ready to launch. All I need is your approval." Council leader Mike Brown stood up, his face troubled. "The Shadowclaws have 100 worlds under their control. If we do this, we risk their full attention turning to Earth." "They're already watching us," Jane answered. She pressed a button, and the display changed to show historical footage. 20 years ago, we were trapped on Earth, fighting among ourselves. Then we found the ruins on Mars, ancient alien technology that taught us how to reach the stars. The images showed the first human ships using the reversed engineered technology, spreading out into space. "We promised ourselves we'd be better," Jane said. "That we'd learn from our history. The Shadowclaws think we're weak because we're new to space. Let's show them what humanity can do." Another council member spoke up. "What about our own defenses? The 7th Fleet protects 3 colony worlds." "The colonies support this action," Jane replied. "I've received messages from all 3 governors. They're willing to rely on minimal protection to help the Meridians." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Our children are watching. What do we want to teach them about humanity?" The chamber's doors burst open as a junior officer ran in. "Update from the Thunder, Admiral. They've destroyed 2 Shadowclaw ships, but they're taking heavy damage. Captain Reed reports their shields are at 40%. Jane turned back to the council. "We're out of time. Every minute we debate, good people die. The Thunder needs help. The Meridians need help. Make your choice." Council Leader Brown looked around the room, meeting each member's eyes. "We'll vote now. The motion is to deploy the 7th Fleet in defense of Starbase 7 and support of the Thunder. Those in favor." Hands rose across the chamber. Jane counted quickly. 14 out of 20. A clear majority. "Motion passes," Brown announced. "Admiral Smith, you have your authorization." Jane was already moving, speaking into her communicator. "This is Admiral Smith to all ships of the 7th Fleet. Launch immediately. Combat coordinates are being transmitted. We have people counting on us." As she strode from the chamber, the council members watched the main screen. Across Earth's orbital shipyards, huge vessels were powering up. The newest and best ships humanity had built, about to face their first real test. "Admiral," Brown called after her. "Good luck." Jane paused at the door. "Luck is for games, Council Leader. We're bringing determination, skill, and the best of humanity. The Shadowclaws won't know what hit them." In space, the ships of the 7th Fleet moved into position. Jane watched from the bridge of her flagship, the Hope's Light, as the final preparations were made. The fleet wasn't the biggest in the galaxy, but every ship was crewed by people who believed in their mission. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her tactical officer announced. Jane nodded, thinking of the Thunder, still fighting alone to protect the innocent. "Send to all ships. Remember why we're here. Remember what we stand for. Today we show the galaxy that humanity keeps its promises. Jump when ready." One by one, the ships of the 7th Fleet vanished into jump points, racing to join the battle. The age of humanity standing on the sidelines was over. It was time to make a difference. Commander Mark Wilson watched from the Thunder's damaged bridge as jump points opened all around them. The 7th Fleet had arrived. His hands moved quickly over the tactical display, marking friendly ships in green as they appeared. "Status report," he called out, keeping his voice steady despite the burns on his arm. "Shields at 15%, Lieutenant Rogers replied. 2 engines down. Main weapons running on backup power." He paused as another hit rocked the ship. "But we saved those escape pods, sir. Every single one made it to safety." The bridge crew managed tired smiles. They had been fighting for hours, keeping the Shadowclaw forces busy while civilians escaped. The cost had been high, but worth it. Admiral Smith's voice came through their speakers. "Thunder, this is Hope's Light. Looks like you could use some help." "Better late than never, Admiral," Mark answered. He watched as human ships moved into attack formation. The Shadowclaw vessels were turning to face the new threat, seemingly confused by the sudden arrival of an unknown fleet. "Commander," the communications officer called out, "I'm getting a signal from the station. They're trying to send us their tactical data, but our systems can't read their format." Mark looked at the station's image on his screen. Starbase 7 was huge, its spiral arms now scared by weapons fire. Somewhere in there, the Meridians were still fighting. "Engineering," he called. "I need our best tech expert on this. Find a way to talk to that station." A young engineer named Pete arrived on the bridge 5 minutes later, his uniform covered in coolant stains. He went straight to the communications console and started working. "Their base coding is different," Pete muttered. "But math is universal. If I can match their prime number sequences." His fingers flew over the controls. "Got it. Running their data through our tactical systems now." The main screen lit up with new information. The station's internal layout appeared, showing damage reports and defense positions. More importantly, it showed where the Shadowclaws were trying to break in. "Admiral," Mark called, "we've got station data. They're making a push for the central hub. The Meridians have fallen back to protect their civilian shelters." "Understood, Thunder. All ships, form up on these coordinates. We're going to show these Shadowclaws how humanity fights." The space around Starbase 7 erupted in light as the 7th Fleet engaged. Human ships moved in ways the Shadowclaws didn't expect, using maneuvers developed over centuries of science fiction becoming real space combat. "They're breaking formation," Rogers reported. "Shadowclaw ships splitting into smaller groups." "That's their mistake," Mark said. He watched as human ships paired up, covering each other's blind spots. Earth's fleet might be newer to space, but they had studied every battle record they could find. A Meridian voice came through their speakers, now translated by Pete's program. "Unknown fleet, we thank you. But why did you come?" Mark looked at his burned crew, his damaged ship, and the reinforcements fighting to save people they had never met. "Because it was right," he answered simply. "We're humans, from Earth, and we don't like bullies." The battle continued around them, as the 7th Fleet pushed back the Shadowclaw forces. Human ships took hits but kept fighting. When one vessel's shields failed, others would move to protect it, working together in ways the Shadowclaws hadn't planned for. "Multiple enemy ships retreating," Rogers announced. The bridge crew cheered as they watched Shadowclaw vessels jump away. "Admiral," Mark called, "request permission to dock with the station. We have medical supplies, and I think it's time we properly met our new friends." "Permission granted, Commander." "Well done, all of you." The Thunder lived up to its name today. As they moved toward the station's docking bay, Mark looked at his crew. They were tired, injured, but proud. Today, humanity had proved itself on the galactic stage. "Send to all hands," he ordered. "Thank you for showing the galaxy what Earth stands for. Now let's go help our neighbors." Lieutenant Amy Cooper moved silently through the damaged sections of Starbase 7. Behind her, 4 human engineers carried repair equipment, their boots making barely a sound on the metal floors. After 3 days of helping the Meridians, they had learned a lot about the station's design. "Life signs ahead," whispered Rob, checking his scanner. "Meridian signatures. Looks like they're working on the power systems." Amy nodded and led her team forward. They found 3 tall, silver-skinned Meridians trying to fix a broken power junction. One of them looked up and made the gesture they'd learned meant relief. "Friends from Earth," the Meridian said in newly learned English. "The main power core is failing. Without it, our outer defenses won't work." "We brought help," Annie replied, gesturing to her engineers. The humans quickly joined the Meridians, their tools mixing with alien technology as they worked together. But Amy's mind was on other things. The Shadow Claws had retreated, yes, but her intelligence training told her they'd be back. And next time, they'd bring more ships. Her communicator buzzed. "Lieutenant." Admiral Smith's voice was quiet. "Your team in position." "Yes, Admiral. We're deep in the station's maintenance sections. The Meridians trust us now." "Good, because we just intercepted a Shadow Claw transmission. They're coming back, with their main battle fleet." Amy looked at the mixed group of humans and Meridians working on the power systems. These aliens had become friends over the past days. She wouldn't let them face another attack. "Permission to proceed with Operation Ghost." "Granted, but be careful. If they catch you." "They won't," Amy said firmly. She turned to her team. "Rob, keep working with the Meridians. The rest of you with me." They moved deeper into the station, following paths they'd carefully mapped. The Meridians had shown them everything about their home, never suspecting that Amy's team was looking for more than just repair needs. They reached a small maintenance airlock. Through its window, they could see their target. A Shadow Claw command ship, still disabled from the last battle, floating dead in space. "Suit up," Annie ordered. Her team pulled on their spacesuits, checking each other's seals. "Remember, we're looking for their attack plans. Get in, find their command center, download their data, and get out." The team moved through space on silent thrusters. The Shadow Claw ship grew larger, its dark hull scarred from battle. They found a maintenance hatch exactly where their scans had shown it would be. Inside, the ship was eerily quiet. Emergency lights cast red shadows as they floated through. Amy led them toward the bridge, following the ship's basic design that they'd learned from studying the battle wreckage. "Contact," one of her team whispered. "2 life signs ahead. Looks like a repair crew." Amy held up her hand, signaling her team to wait. The Shadow Claw crew passed below them, never looking up at the maintenance shaft where the humans hid. Finally, they reached the bridge. Amy plugged Earth's best code-breaking computer into the Shadow Claw systems. As it worked, she looked around at the alien controls. "Download complete," the computer chirped, but Amy was staring at something on one of the screens. "Team, look at this." The screen showed ancient star charts, areas of space marked with symbols they'd seen in the Mars ruins. The Shadow Claws weren't just attacking the Meridians for territory. They were looking for something. "Admiral," Amy called quietly, "we found their plans. But there's more. The Shadow Claws are after ancient technology, the same kind we found on Mars." There was silence on the radio. "Then, get back here. Now, we need to warn the Meridians." As they left the Shadow Claw ship, Amy's mind raced. If the Shadow Claws got hold of more ancient tech, they'd be unstoppable. The next battle wouldn't just be about protecting the Meridians. It would be about protecting the whole galaxy. "Move fast," she told her team. "We don't have much time." Admiral Jane Smith stood in Starbase 7's main control room, surrounded by representatives from 5 different alien species. The room buzzed with translated conversations as they studied the tactical displays showing the approaching Shadow Claw fleet. "The Blue Star Collective offers 6 warships," announced a tall, blue-skinned alien. "We have watched Earth's bravery. You fought for the Meridians when we did not. Now we will fight with you." The rock tribes bring 4 battle cruisers, rumbled another alien, his stone-like skin glinting under the lights. Humanity has shown us that size of territory does not equal size of spirit. Jane nodded to each speaker, hope growing in her chest. When the Thunder had first answered that distress call, Earth had stood alone. Now, the room was full of allies. Admiral, a human officer, burst into the room. The Meridian medical team. They'd done it. They found a way to heal plasma burns. This news rippled through the gathered aliens. The Meridians were known across space for their medical knowledge, but they rarely shared it. Now they were treating wounded human crews, teaching Earth's doctors secrets they'd kept for centuries. "Your people bled for us," said the Meridian leader, his silver skin shimmering. "We will share all we know to heal them." The tactical display beeped. The Shadowclaw fleet was getting closer, 50 ships strong. Even with their new allies, they would be outnumbered. "We have something they don't," Jane told the gathered aliens. "We have diversity. Each of our species thinks differently, fights differently. Together, we can do what none of us could do alone." She turned to the main screen, showing the combined fleet. Human ships flew in formation with Blue Star vessels. Rock Tribe cruisers protected Meridian medical ships. 2 other species, the Swift Solar Runners and the technically advanced Ring Builders, added their own unique ships to the mix. "The Shadowclaws think unity means conformity," Jane continued. "They conquer and force everyone to follow their ways, but real strength comes from our differences." The room erupted in agreement. Each species had their own way of showing support. The Blue Stars glowed brighter. The Rock Tribes stomped their feet. The Solar Runners sang. "Enemy fleet dropping out of jump space," announced the tactical officer. Jane straightened her uniform. Time to show them what an alliance really means. All ships, battle positions. The combined fleet moved with surprising grace. They had spent days practicing together, learning each other's strengths. Human tactical expertise merged with Blue Star maneuverability. Rock Tribe armor protected Ring Builder sensor ships. Shadowclaw fleet is launching fighters, the tactical officer reported. "Let them come," Jane replied. "Solar Runner squadrons, you know what to do." The small, fast ships of the Solar Runners darted forward. They flew in patterns that seemed random but were actually based on their species' traditional dances. The Shadowclaw fighters couldn't track them. Rock Tribe cruisers, advance. Human ships, cover their flanks. Blue Stars, prepare for attack run beta. The battle unfolded like a complex dance. When Shadowclaw ships adapted to one species' tactics, another would strike from an unexpected direction. The Ring Builders used their technology to disrupt enemy communications. The Meridian's medical ships darted in to save damaged vessels. "Enemy flagship is changing position," called the tactical officer. They're pulling back." The room washed as the Shadowclaw fleet began to retreat. For the first time in their history, they had faced an enemy they couldn't simply overpower. "Let them run," Jane said. "Let them tell others what they saw here. Tell them about the day when 5 different species stood together and proved that diversity is strength." The alien representatives cheered. The Meridian leader approached Jane, holding out a data crystal. This contains star charts showing all known locations of ancient technology sites. We trust Earth to help guard this knowledge. Jane accepted the crystal with a bow. "We won't let you down." She looked around the room at their new allies. "This is just the beginning. Together, we can build something new, something better than standing alone." Outside the station, ships from 5 different species flew together in a victory formation, lighting up space with their combined power. Captain Tom Reed stood on the bridge of the Thunder, now repaired and ready for battle. Through the main viewport, he could see the Meridian homeworld, a beautiful blue-green planet with 3 moons, and between those moons waited the entire Shadowclaw battle fleet. "They're desperate now," Admiral Smith's voice came through the comm. "Their spies must have told them about the ancient technology data. This is their last chance to take it. Then let's make sure they fail. Tom replied. He looked at his crew, a mix of humans and aliens now. A Blue Star navigator, a rock-tried weapons officer, and even a Meridian doctor had joined his ship. All ships report ready, Lieutenant Rogers announced. Allied fleet in position. The combined fleet was larger now. News of their victory at Starbase 7 had spread, and more species had joined them. Ships of all shapes and sizes formed up around the Thunder. Remember the plan, Admiral Smith broadcast to all ships. The Shadow Claws expect us to defend. Instead, we attack. Captain Reed, your ship leads the charge. Tom nodded to his crew. Battle stations. Blue Star navigation. Plot us a course through their lines. Rock-tried weapons. Target their command ships. Meridian medical. Stand by for casualties. The Thunder's engines roared to life. Behind it, hundreds of Allied ships moved into attack formation. The Shadowclaw fleet started to shift, expecting their usual slow advance. Now, Tom ordered. The Thunder shot forward at full speed, moving in ways the Shadowclaws had never seen. The Blue Star navigator used her species' natural sense of movement to plot impossible curves through space. The rock-tried weapons officer fired with perfect timing. His people's natural connection to energy letting him predict shield fluctuations. Enemy fleet breaking formation, Rogers called out. They didn't expect us to be so fast. Around them, the battle exploded into action. Solar runner ships darted between larger vessels, causing chaos in the Shadowclaw lines. Ring builder technology jammed their targeting systems. Rock-tried cruisers absorbed heavy fire, while Blue Star ships struck from blind spots. Admiral, Tom called, we have a shot at their flagship. Request permission to break through. Granted. All ships cover the Thunder's advance. The Thunder dove through the chaos of battle, its mixed crew working in perfect harmony. Shadowclaw ships tried to stop them, but each time, an ally would appear to help, blocking shots, providing covering fire, or jamming enemy systems. Their flagship shields are down to 40%, the Rock Tribe officer reported. His stone fingers danced over the weapons console with surprising grace. Blue Star navigation, Tom ordered. Get us underneath them. Everyone else, prepare for close combat. The Thunder rolled and dove, avoiding massive energy beams from the Shadowclaw flagship. They had never faced a ship that could move like this, combining human determination with Blue Star agility. We're in position, the navigator announced, her blue skin glowing with excitement. Fire everything, Tom ordered. The Thunder's weapons opened up, joined by a dozen Allied ships that had followed them in. The Shadowclaw flagship shields flickered and died. Their engines are hit, Rogers shouted. They're losing power. Tom watched as the massive flagship began to drift. Around it, seeing their leaders vulnerable for the first time, other Shadowclaw ships started to retreat. This is Admiral Smith to all ships. Push them back. Don't let them regroup. The Allied fleet surged forward. Ships from a dozen worlds fought side by side, protecting each other, covering weaknesses with their different strengths. The Shadowclaw fleet, built on fear and conformity, couldn't match their teamwork. Enemy ships jumping out, Rogers reported. They're running. The bridge crew cheered as the Shadowclaw fleet retreated, leaving their damaged flagship behind. Tom looked at his alien crew members, beings he would have once called strange, now trusted friends. Send to Admiral Smith, he ordered. The Thunder is ready to accept the Shadowclaw surrender, and suggest they bring a translator. They're about to learn what real civilization looks like. The great meeting hall of Starbase 7 was packed with representatives from 20 different species. At the center table sat Admiral Jane Smith, Captain Tom Reed, and Commander Mark Wilson, representing Earth. Beside them, the Meridian leader's silver skin gleamed under the bright lights, and at the far end, 3 Shadowclaw commanders sat in silent defeat. The terms are simple, Jane announced, her voice carried by universal translators. The Shadowclaw Empire will withdraw from all conquered territories. They will pay to rebuild what they destroyed, and they will join our new alliance, not as rulers, but as equals. The lead Shadowclaw commander stood, his dark armor now bearing marks of battle. For centuries, we believed strength came from power over others. But your ships, your pilots, your tactics, you proved us wrong. Tom watched as the commander stepped forward and placed his ceremonial blade on the table, a traditional sign of surrender. We accept your terms. The Shadowclaw Empire is ended. We ask to learn your way instead. A cheer went up from the gathered species. The blue stars glowed brighter. The rock tribes stomped in approval, and the solar runners sang their victory songs. Even the ring builders, usually quiet and reserved, joined the celebration. 6 months ago, humanity was new to space, Mark said to the gathered allies. We had just learned to travel between stars. But we brought with us the most important lesson from our history, that unity doesn't mean sameness. That strength comes from working together, not fighting each other. The Meridian leader rose next, holding up the ancient data crystal. This knowledge, which the Shadowclaws sought to steal, will now be shared with all species who join our alliance. Together, we will explore its mysteries. Together, we will grow stronger. Jane stepped forward. Today, we create the Galactic Defense Coalition. Every member equal, every voice heard. Earth offers to host the first training academy, where our species can learn from each other. Cheers erupted again. Different species began mixing, sharing ideas, and making plans. The Shadowclaw commanders found themselves surrounded by former enemies, not seeking revenge, but offering friendship. Captain Reed called the Blue Star Navigator from his crew. The Thunder's next patrol starts tomorrow. Will you keep our mixed crew? Tom smiled. Wouldn't have it any other way. In fact, I hear we're getting a ring builder engineer too. Outside the meeting hall, through giant windows, ships from all the allied species flew in formation. The Thunder led them, its hull now bearing marks in 20 different languages, all meaning the same thing: unity in diversity. You know, Mark said to Jane as they watched the ships, when we found those ruins on Mars, we thought we were just learning how to reach the stars. But we were learning something more important: how to bring people together. Jane nodded. The Shadowclaws spent centuries looking for ancient technology, thinking it would make them powerful. But the real power was in what humanity remembered from its own past, that we're stronger together than apart. The day ended with a ceremony that would be remembered for generations. Representatives from each species, including the reformed Shadowclaws, signed the coalition charter. As they did, their ships outside formed a spiral of light, each adding their own color to the display. Send word to Earth, Jane ordered as the ceremony concluded. Tell them the thunder of war has been replaced by the music of cooperation. A new age has begun. Tom looked at his mixed crew, preparing to return to the Thunder. A year ago, he would have called them aliens. Now they were family. Together, they had not just saved the Meridians. They had changed the galaxy. Ready to head out? He asked them. The Blue Star Navigator glowed happily. The Rock Tribe weapons officer stomped in agreement. The Meridian Doctor bowed gracefully, and the new ring builder engineer hummed with excitement. Then let's show the galaxy what unity really means, Tom said. There's a lot of space out there, and now we can explore it together. The Thunder's engines lit up, leading the way into a future brighter than any single species could have created alone.